I'm Suzanne Carte. I'm the artistic director and curator at the Art Gallery of Burlington. Our winter exhibition 2024 is How Can I Know You?, curated by Dr. Suzanne Morrissette. And it brings together 5 artists and relational makers that are looking at clay and where clay comes from.
How Can I Know You is an exhibition where all of the artists are thinking in different ways about the animacy of material, whether that's clay in its fired form or water, the soil under our feet, and to think about our relationships to place.
So the exhibition is really important for the Art Gallery of Burlington. It's going to be something that we value and look to for generations to come in this space. We're grateful to the water protectors and the land stewards of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, and Métis people, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. We're so grateful to be able to live and play and make on this space. We dig our hands in the earth all the time here, not only through our education, but through the preservation and the conservation of Canadian contemporary clay.
When you first enter the gallery, Panya's work is around the title wall, and she has been working with found brick in Toronto as well as in Hamilton to create pigments that are based in the bricks that once formed buildings in those regions. And so the ranges of colors that she's able to produce come from the range of materials that are evident in the soil. And so Panya talks about what it means for her to encounter these materials today, what stories they contain about industry, about settlement. Dana Prieto works very site-specific and works to unearth specific histories related to these sites. And so as an artist who was sited at the Small Arms Inspection Building, she was working with the history of radioactive material and waste being buried around that building. These very complicated social and political histories of munitions creation, but also that have been now kind of raised into recreational spaces, and the palimpsests of these histories that reside in our very backyards. The ceramic tiles on the floor also have ceramic casings for the munitions as well, laying on the floor in addition to these terracotta style pots. With Casey Adams's work, there was a performance on the opening night, and it involved 7 women of 7 generations or different ranges of generations in a performance. And so the women were seated in a circle together with their legs extended and touching one another. They became conduits for the sound that was picked up by a microphone in the pots that they held. And so they were able to play with the water in the pots that they held that Casey had made using clay from soil in Manitoba to create these kinds of sonic scores. Immediately facing Casey Adams's work on the opposite wall is a niche in which a long horizontal board is lit up and painted in this beautiful off-pink kind of color. And that pink pigment is made from materials in Manitoulin, where Anong is from and where she's currently based. And so I like to think about the contribution that Anong makes to this exhibition, not necessarily as a painting, but the material itself. Krista Stewart is an artist from British Columbia, and there are 3 ceramic closed forms of hers in this exhibition. Each of the ceramic forms was made in a different location to house earth material from that location. And so there's one from Seoul, one from Toronto, and one from Vancouver. And they're capsules of those locations, of the place and the stories and the history that material contains within it. Melissa has worked in video and photography for much of her career, and what we see in this exhibition is a video of Melissa gathering water from the Grand River and collecting it in these mason jars, in her family's mason jars. So to think about water as a material, to think about water as a form that carries history and substance in and of itself. Broadly, it also, I think, can be extended to think about the work that all artists are bringing to the show, and indeed the work that audiences bring with them to the show and perhaps leave with, in terms of thinking about where do we come from, what are the stories that we're in relationship with, what is our role as a guest, what are our accountabilities in spaces. By working with these artists, the exhibition helps me to think about how the animacy of clay and the land, not as something that is separate from us, but that we are always in relation to, is supportive of a discussion about how we understand our relationships to other humans, to non-human beings, and how we can act responsibly, ethically, with accountability in relation to one another.